Hi everyone, it's me, Dr. Derek Ong. I'm back with video number 3 on my digital marketing management, marketing mechanism and measurement. My first two videos focus on the theory of digital marketing and why digital marketing is so important to create a user experience. And then my second video talked about the mechanisms and the ways that you can create such wonderful content for your digital marketing strategy. And for this particular video, I'm going to focus on talking about why it's important for you to measure your digital marketing campaign. Right, so if you want to get to know me, again, my QR code is here. Please scan my QR code, send me an email if you have any questions. So, what am I going to be covering? I'm going to be covering this particular video on online marketing metrics. What are they? What is so important? I'm going to be using a lot of examples from Google Analytics and Google Trends. I'm going to show you what they can do and what are some of the cool things that you can do with it. I'm also going to tell you about why you need to create these measurements, why it's so important. There are a lot of resources that I have in this video that I've included in the information section on this video. So please go and search through all those information as well, links and things that you can do. I'm also going to take you through a very simple example on what is simple analytics in increasing your search engine optimization by introducing you this thing called the inquiry rates and the click-through rates. Right. In measurement, the important thing is creating the measurement. Why it's important for you to create a measurement? So you start by creating the measurement by looking at Google Analytics, putting your website in together with Google Analytics and Google AdWords, right? And then also to understand how and what people actually search for, so that you also become one of those high the things that they search for as well. You got to think about what is a good online marketing metrics. Think about what are kind of the costs and the models that you want to use when you bid for words, especially keywords. You might also want to think about certain measuring issues as well. And also I'm going to introduce to you why is it so important to use a thing called long tail keywords, to be niche and in your keyword rather than to be broad in your keyword. That means small keywords. And finally, I'm also going to talk to you a little bit about click-through rates and focusing a little bit on inquiry rates and also click-through rates. This is to optimize your search engine optimization. Okay, so basically, Google Analytics, there is a video here that you can pause this video and use your QR code to scan, or I have also included this link in the uh, uh, information section for you to actually use it and see how to set up your Google Analytics. This video, I'm not going to show you how to set up the Google Analytics. What I'm going to show you is what you can do with Google Analytics. So here is an example of the Google Analytics demo account, which I have synced to my Google account. Now, as you can see here, Google Analytics gives you a dashboard of a lot of things that you can see, like who, where, people view, who are the users, new users, page sections, page views, average durations, and so on and so forth. In my next video, I'm also going to show you a little bit on YouTube Analytics from my own YouTube account, which you can also watch and see. So let me just show you a little bit about what you can do here. Now, under the active users, you can always look at, let's say you want to know who are these people viewing your page on, by looking at the overview, okay, on their mobile devices. So you can see that most people view it on your desktop, but more and then on the mobile. This is what we mean by users. If let's say you want to know what all these analytics are, or what all these numbers mean to you, you can always put your cursor to the small little uh, question mark sign, and they will tell you that these are basically what they mean. So I'm not going to go through each one and every one for you. You can actually look at the link that I've created for you in the information section, and you can see what are some of the best things that you can do. All right, you can also change this from year to month. You can change the day. You can even add a segment if you want to. Okay, uh, now I'm very interested in looking at the demographics. So for example, like age, for example. Okay. Now, when I look at age, I can see some of the users of age and the different kinds of age as well. If I want to add a segment, I can also ask what kind of segments do I want. Maybe I can make my own custom segment. But if let's say I want to see who are my new users, I can just apply this, and you can see that my new users, right, are the red color, whereby they show you different uh, 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 ups and downs and peaks and valleys of your new users as well. It's really great that you can find. Um, my uh, you notice that they also say that I've had 88.27 new users in the past uh, 1 week or so. Okay. The other thing is looking at gender, which is basically demographic breakdowns. So try to create uh, the demo account, link your Google to the demo account. This is actually a live Google account which you can actually play around with, and it will tell you a lot about the kind of things that you can use. Now, why is this Google Analytics so important? When you know who are the people going to your traffic, you know what are the um, uh, ads that is creating the most revenue, then it does help you. When you measure all this, it does help you to understand what you can do to sort of uh, change your marketing strategy to meet those needs. Now, it's very important, and it does take a bit of time for you to get to know all these things, but sometimes it is important for you if you want to create content that works, then this is what you need to do. It's just like playing the stock market, right? Knowing what people want, what is the trends, and then going there and just use it to your advantage. So think about what you can do with all this. The next thing I want to show you is this thing called Google Trends. Now, Google Trends is basically a great way to analyze what is popular and what is trending on Google search itself. You know, a lot of people use a lot of Google search, Bing maybe, but I like to use Google Trends quite a bit. Knowledge and data is power. Knowing what people are searching for and knowing what is relevant, and then creating the content that meets this relevancy and the timeliness will make sure that your content actually gets a lot of views and clicks. It is important to know what is trending and when. And also, I'm going to show you a great demo on how you can use Google Trends. Now, again, you can use the link that I've given you here, QR code, as well as the link that I've also passed to you in the comments and in the not comment section, on the information section as well. So let me show you a Google Trend demo. All right, so we're in our Google Trends demo part. So I'm just going to show you some of the cool things that Google Trends can do. Now, you can start by putting a search item if you want to, or you can search through by country. So I'm going to first start with my own home country, and I'm going to find Malaysia. Here we go. Some of the cool things that you can play with Google Trends. And I'm going to start by looking for a few things called coronavirus. And of course, if you notice that over time, coronavirus peaks in terms of its search on the 15th to the 21st of March. But I can also change this to, let's say, the past 7 days or 30 days. I can change it to 30 days probably. Okay, and you can see the ups and downs of the coronavirus. Now, one of the great things about this is that I can also search by comparisons. So I'm into fitness, so I want to find out about what's going on with fitness first and see how many people actually search for fitness first. I can also add on another comparison, maybe celebrity fitness. And you can see that celebrity fitness is trending higher than coronavirus. Wow, that's amazing. Maybe because this one during May, in my country, the lockdown was being eased, and a lot of people in the gyms were trying to figure out when can they actually go back to the gym. You notice that it just slumped on the 16th of May. So I think people are just given up. One of the good things about this is that you can also search in comparison with, let me try home workout. Notice how high home workout peaked in comparison with coronavirus and Fitness First, because I think a lot of the gym members, when the gym search gets lower, home workouts becomes more popular. So this is how you actually know what people want when you think about what content you want to put up, isn't it? Now, if you search for region, you can also see that in Malaysia, in my home country, that other states are looking for home workouts, whereas only one state is looking at coronavirus. You can see that Fitness First and Celebrity Fitness are mostly concentrated in the areas and the regions of Klang Valley, which is where Fitness First clubs is mostly focused on. Whereas for home workout, you can see that it is right across in the whole of Malaysia. Wow. Looks like Malaysians, everybody wants to be fit, isn't it? Now, the other things that I want to show you also is changing worldwide search. Now, this might be interesting to do. I'm just going to remove this all, and let's try and compare politicians. Basically, you can do anything with Google Trends. There's so many things you can do with Google Trends, and so many other things you can talk about. So in terms of, if you don't put in anything, you can see that the rising trends of people are searching for is doodles, Kim Jong-un, Mother's Day celebration, and so on and so forth. Rishi Kapoor. And these are what are the things that people are searching for in the past 30 days worldwide. Okay, let's do a comparison of Donald Trump, Angela Merkel, and Boris Johnson. Oops, sorry, I got a wrong one here. Boris Johnson, there you go. Now, wow, it looks like Boris Johnson is really popular in Google search on the 10th of May as compared to Angela Merkel and Donald Trump. Donald Trump seems to be losing his popularity, and you can actually see where all these searches come from. In terms of Donald Trump, you can see that Australia, America, India are biggest searches for Donald Trump, whereas Angela Merkel, not bad, over across, but also highly in Germany. And of course in Boris Johnson, if you notice, the biggest search will be in the United Kingdom. So you can also see which topic is of interest in every single country around the world. Now, like I said, digital marketing and content making has broken all the barriers of spatial barriers, temporal barriers, and geographical barriers. So you can really reach out to as many people as you want. You just have to have great content, and understanding the power that you have in terms of information is great. So remember, I've got a video that is part of this info for you to look at how you can attach your website, which I've asked you to look into, the free website in the previous video, and connect it with the Google Analytics. So it is there, a step-by-step tutorial on how you can connect into Google Analytics. Now, the other thing I want to talk to you guys about is Google AdWords. So what is Google AdWords? Google AdWords, also known as Google Ads, are basically an advertising system in Google which you bid for certain keywords in order for them to be clickable, ads to appear in Google search results. That means how are people going, basically bidding for keywords in terms of how people are going to use these keywords to search for your content. Okay. And there are pricing models, which I'm going to explain later, using the pay-per-click pricing model in the Google pricing model. So I've also got a link here and a QR code, which you can pause the video and go to the QR code to see and learn a little bit more about Google AdWords. But it's something that you can link up your website or any of your Facebook or your social media to Google AdWords so that people can search for your ads better. All right. Now, what is the cost of online advertising? I'm just going to break down to you very briefly of some of the pricing models that people use in online advertising. Firstly, is what we call as the revenue per thousand impressions, or we call it the RPM. Basically, what this means is opportunities for views. That means the revenues, the opportunities that people will view your ad. It is taken as the total earnings estimates over the total number of page views times 1,000. It is usually between $18 to 25 USD, and RPM only happens when you pay when a revenue happens. So they will know whether you have the total earning based on the click or people or what they do with the ads that they see. The other one is cost per action. Now, cost per action is also known as, you notice I say /E/C, which is also cost per click, or cost per E, which is cost per engagement, or we also call it the CTA, right? The cost click-through action. In some cases, it's also known as the CTR, which is also the click-through rates. So these words are actually used quite interchangeably. Okay, so basically, you pay whenever an action happens through the ads that they put up. So this action could be, if let's say your consumers or your audience were to register or download something or just basically have an engagement with the ad. Now, there are also pricing models where you can have a hybrid model of RPM and also CTA as well. And you need to understand the cost to the advertisers. This cost per action is basically cost that is incurred to the advertisers, which is you as the business. So you take the earnings estimated, divide over how many ad units you have on that page. Now, and this, I cannot give you a real function or a real cost to it because it really depends on the industry. Certain industries have a higher click-through rates than others. So higher industries with a higher click-through rate, like for example, online shopping, yeah, these have higher click-through rates. Then they cost, excuse me, would be definitely higher. Whereas other things like other smaller stuff like farms, for example, you know, these has lower click-through rates. They might have a lower cost in that when it comes to the pricing model. Okay. And then there is the thing called the cost per thousand impression. Now, this is the easiest one. So basically what this means is for every impression, we call it the impression. Why they call it M? It basically means cost per mile. 1 mile equals 1,000. So it is basically taking the CTA or the CTR, divide over the page views, times 1,000. All right. And this averages around 3 USD. Now, I know that this particular pricing model seems a little bit too far-fetched, but if you do a little bit of research online, you will be able to understand how this works. I'm also going to give you an example on how these RPM, CTR, and CPM links up together. Okay. Now, before I get to there, think about certain measuring issues. Obviously, the main thing is how are you going to correlate online marketing to online marketing to online or offline sales? In this way, you need to understand bringing it to an action. which is why I say create an action for people so that it make it easier for them to pay. If you're going to use the cost per action or the cost per click, make sure that the click will be transformed into sales. In general, online marketing is more expensive when you use the CPM, but it is definitely more efficient when it comes to producing sales because you are creating impressions for people. Okay, so if you want to find out a little bit more about Google AdWords, please use this link here that I provided for you. Now, let me give you an example of a relationship between RPM, CTA, and CPM. So let's take, for instance, you have 5 ad units in the page. Okay, it could be any banner ads, it could be ads that just pops up and anywhere, and it is 25 cents is the estimate earnings from 20 page views. Okay, 20 page views. So what does this mean? This means that your RPM, your would be 0.25 divided by 20 times 1,000 views. Okay, which means you take the cost divide over the page views times 1,000. Okay, which means that every 1,000 views of this particular revenue that you get, right, you pay $12.50. So every 1,000 views, the 5 ad units is going to return you a revenue of $12.50. The cost to the advertisers, remember I mentioned about the CTA, you take the ad cost, divide over how many ad units you have, which is each ad unit is 5 cents. Now, what does this mean? This means that you're taking the CPM, the cost per avenue, take the CTA, which is what you have there, times divide over the page views, which is 20, times 1,000, right? And that's where for each 1,000 impressions, each 1,000 view, you pay $2.50. Okay, that is quite a lot if you have a very, very high traffic, but it will return you, remember, it returns you about $12.50 per every 1,000. So you're basically paying $2.50, right, for a return of $12.50. That means you are getting a profit of $10 for every 1,000 if your CPM works very well. Okay? Now, in order for your CPM to work very well, you got to understand about bidding for very good words. Sometimes CPM is at less effective if you use example words like bicycle. Now, vague search terms like this with only one word is expensive because you're using it and everyone else is using it. But if you were to go down and create the more collective words, 3 or 4, which we call it the long tail keyword, yes, people may not be searching for stuff like this, but people who are going to be searching for stuff like this would already know what they want, and the chances and the probability of you appearing right at the very top will be much higher. So therefore, the click-through rates and the click-through rates will be higher, which makes your CPM much more effective. I hope that makes sense, right? So this is one of the benefits of using long tail keywords, and the probability of conversion actually increases if you use very, very good keywords. And I'm going to give you an example of what this means also. All right, just to go through with you some very important key things about search engine performance. So views are basically display enough products, advertising, promotion to use so that you increase your customer viewing. Cost per click, you bid higher, you rank higher, which means that if you say you're using the CPM model, you bid higher for the word, then you rank higher. If there's lesser clicks, then there's lower chance of people actually clicking you, but you get a prolonged duration of staying at the top. Remember what I just said. So it is a give and take of, do you want people to have better hit rates, or do you want to swim in the pool of other people? I would rather that you bid for lesser clicks but more effective click-through rates rather than going for the words which a lot of people are using. Then there is also the click-through rates, which is basically how many people do an action over how many views, which is the degree of attraction of the platform. If it's high, then that means that your content is very highly attractive. You must make sure that your click-through rates must be at least more than 1%, which means your product title and your photo is good. The other thing is the inquiry rates. The inquiries divide over visitors. You measure the product information quality. All right, which means that once you get the attraction, now you want people to engage with you, and that's where your inquiries come in. You must include good photos, good videos, good promo, anything, even information like minimum order quantity, product detail. Now, for your inquiry rates to be good, it must be at least 5%. I'm going to give you an example on how. So let's say, for instance, right, I have this traffic analysis, which is why I told you to go and do your Google Analytics, because you will get all this in your Google Analytics. I want to calculate the top one and the bottom one. I want to see what is the CTR and what is the IR, so that I know what I have to do and what is wrong with my website. So for example, if I want to calculate the click-through rates, I take the customer clicks over the customer views. And if I want to calculate the IR, I take the inquiry over the visitors. And I get 2% and 7.5%. Now, 2% and 7.5%, I actually have very good click-through rates and very good IR, which means continue doing what I'm doing. Okay? For the second one, you will be thinking that the first one has a lot of the second one has more customer views. But actually, if you compare with the second one, I have customer clicks, which is 800, divide my customer views, and my inquiry rates, which is 42 over 1,100. I actually have low CTR and low IR, which means I have very bad CTR and bad IR. So it doesn't mean that if I have higher customer views and higher visitors, I will be effective. That doesn't mean. This actually shows to me that the top one example has a better CPM rate when it comes to bidding for keywords as compared to the bottom one. So having a lot of views is not good enough. You need to make sure that these views translate into clicks, translate into actions. So low CTR, again, if I may iterate, means that you have low quality product main photo, and low IR means that you have low quality information, which means that the information is not good enough. People just don't want to ask you questions. I'm going to give you another example. So in this example, if your low CTR, which is lower than 1%, then there are two aspects that you must optimize, which is the product name and the product photo. Now, look at this particular example here about selling air conditioners right here. Which name do you think would be the best? Name A or name B? Well, obviously, name B would be a better name because name A is inappropriate. You are basically using keywords that are general, and they are split up into general keywords. People are not going to search all these keywords together. But if you use one long keyword, one long tail keyword, then people you will get lesser views, but every view that you get will be a click, will be a click, will be a click, will be a click. And you will stay right at the top of this search engine. Okay, this is what we mean by search engine optimization. Secondly, Photo. What about photo? Which do you think is a good photo right down here? Well, obviously, the photo that shows the whole product and covers at least 2/3 of the white space. A white background is usually the best when you take a photo. These are just very, very small little examples of things that you can do when you're doing your photos online. So, I think that's all I have for now in terms of measurement. I just want to share with you some key takeaways of this particular video. Always measure the impact of your online campaign. Never ever think that once you put your content out there, that everybody's going to want to look at your content. But important thing is to know what is the effectiveness of your content. Use effective keywords. Very good long tail keywords, good product information, good photos, and always track the progress and change whatever strategy as and when you need to. All right. So thank you very much. I have one bonus video next round where I'm going to talk a little bit more about social media engagement. I'm going to give you an example of how I use my YouTube videos to monetize as well as create a brand for myself. So thank you very much.